Hello, this is Lindsay from Have Clothes Will Travel. In today's video, I'm going to share my 3-day Santorini itinerary as well as my tips for visiting this beautiful Greek island, from when to visit to how to get around and where to stay in Santorini. My husband and I visited Santorini in mid-September and absolutely loved it. This 3-day itinerary is what we personally did and recommend. It's a bit more laid back though and does not try to cram in every single thing you can possibly do in Santorini. I'm trying to get better about slowing down and actually enjoying each location instead of trying to do all the things. And the days in this itinerary don't have to go in this order. Feel free to swap them around if it works better for your schedule. Day 1. Take a catamaran cruise and enjoy the sunset in Ia. Our Santorini adventure started with a catamaran tour, which is one of the most popular things to do in Santorini, and for good reason. It's incredible. We loved admiring the beautiful sights and swimming in the hot springs. I also think this is by far the best way to enjoy the water and sunshine, as Santorini does not have especially great beaches. Most companies offer both daytime and sunset cruises, but we recommend the daytime option for a unique perspective of the island. Again, I also like being able to swim during the heat of the day. The cruise typically includes stops at Red Beach, White Beach, the Caldera Hot Springs, and Amudi Bay. The tour lasts about 5 hours. Be sure to wear a dark-colored swimsuit. The hot springs will stain light-colored swimwear. Just ask my husband. Also, don't forget sunscreen and a camera. Beverages, snacks, and lunch are typically included in these cruises. At least our cruise did include all of these things, which I'll link to in the description of this video. After the cruise, get ready to enjoy the sunset in Ia. Now, watching sunsets in Ia can be a little tricky as everyone wants to do the same thing. It's really difficult to avoid the crowds. For the best sunset views, my personal recommendation is to book a hotel in Ia that has great views. This is one of the reasons I booked the Ikes in Santorini. Then you can watch it from the comfort of your own terrace. You won't really avoid the crowds this way, but another option is dining at a restaurant on Amudi Bay, and it's a much more relaxing way to enjoy the sunset with a cocktail and some wonderful food. I know a lot of guides recommend watching from Ia Castle. Personally don't recommend this though, as it's absolutely bananas how busy it is. Day 2, do the Fira to Ia hike. The Fira to Ia hike is our personal favorite thing we did while in Santorini. The views are amazing. It's a 6-mile hike that takes you through small towns, up to high points with panoramic views and past iconic landmarks. It will take anywhere from 2 to 5 hours depending on how quickly you walk. I believe it took us about 3.5 hours. This is not an especially strenuous hike, but it will be hot depending on how late in the morning you decide to leave. We didn't get going until around 9 a.m. And there is little to no shade on this hike. The trail is well marked with trail markers and signs, and there will be a steady stream of people hiking, so it'll be pretty obvious which way to go. I did see some people with guides who were explaining the history and the sites we were hiking past. You definitely don't need a guide to do this hike, but booking one could be a good way to learn more about Santorini. The hike typically starts in Fira at the Atlantis Hotel and ends in Ia, but we did it backwards as we were staying in Ia. When we finished, we took a cab back to our hotel in Ia to freshen up and relax by the pool before we went to dinner. After the Fira to Ia hike is a great night to enjoy dinner at Armeni restaurant, which is a traditional fish tavern located in Armeni Bay. The restaurant is where you can enjoy deliciously fresh cuisine in a simple, unpretentious, and relaxed atmosphere. The owners are an absolute blast and really know their fish. Their fish of the day was by far the best meal we had in Santorini. It's best to book in advance and contact them to arrange a boat transfer from Amudi Bay. You can walk here from Ia, but it's not a very nice path and it'll take around 30 minutes of walking. Driving down here is not an option. I'll put the link to their contact info in the video description. Day 3, sightseeing in Ia with an optional wine tasting. Spend your last day exploring more of Ia. Visit the famous Blue Dome Church and windmills in Ia, take in the panoramic views, and snap some photos during the early morning hours to avoid the crowds. There are also a lot of fun shops to wander in and out of in Ia. Then, if you haven't taken the time to do so properly yet, make your way to Amudi Bay, either by foot or taxi. A personally prefer the taxi option as it is far too many steps in very hot weather. Here you can enjoy a beautiful lunch or dinner at one of the restaurants overlooking the bay. Another option for the afternoon on your last day is to do a wine tasting and visit some of the wineries in Santorini. Santorini is renowned for its unique volcanic soil, which produces incredible wines. If you enjoy wine, I do think this is a worthwhile activity to add to your Santorini itinerary. Now, a bonus activity, a flying dress photo shoot. If you have the time one evening, I highly recommend booking a flying dress photo shoot. These are some truly memorable photos to have of your trip. These photos can also be taken as a couple. I have an entire YouTube video dedicated to this that I'll link to at the end of this video. But it's a really cool photo shoot that originated in Santorini. Now here are some travel tips and things to know before you visit Santorini. Here's how to get to Santorini from Athens. There are 2 ways to do this. The fastest way to reach the island is to take a direct flight from Athens International Airport to Santorini Airport. The flight typically takes around 55 minutes. I personally did this and flew with Sky Express to maximize my time. Ferry is another option, and this can be a more cost-effective way to get to Santorini. And there are 2 types of ferries. There are fast ferries. These take about 4.5 to 5.5 hours. And there are slow ferries. These take longer and are around 6 to 9 hours. I'll link to the ferry timetable in the description. Best time to visit Santorini. The peak season is from June to September and offers warm, sunny weather and vibrant nightlife, but it will be crowded and more expensive. You're going to need to book everything in advance and make sure to make dinner reservations well in advance if you have your heart set on certain restaurants. Some of the more popular ones recommend making reservations at least a month in advance. If you prefer a quieter atmosphere, consider visiting during the shoulder seasons of spring, which is April to May, or fall, which is October to November. The weather is still pleasant during these months, and the island is less crowded and less expensive. While you can still visit Santorini during the winter months, it's going to be a much different experience. There will hardly be any crowds. However, many of the restaurant and businesses close for the winter months, so your dining and entertainment options will be limited. We personally visited in mid-September and had nearly perfect weather every single day. And yes, there were still crowds, but it really didn't feel too crazy, and we really enjoyed ourselves. How to get around Santorini for this itinerary. So my husband and I hate driving, especially when we're out of the country. We try to avoid it at all costs. We ended up taking taxis or walking our entire time in Santorini. However, this is by no means the only way to get around the island. It is by no means the most cost-effective way to do it. Your first option is to rent a car. This will provide you the most flexibility and convenience. You can explore the island at your own pace. Just be sure to book your car ahead of time, especially if you want an automatic, as most cars will be stick shift. Next, the local buses are the most cost-effective option. Tickets cost around €2 depending on your destination. And now, while Uber and Lyft are not available in Santorini, you can still use local taxis. The fares are fixed, so ask about the price in advance. For a fun and adventurous experience, you can also rent quads or motorbikes. And lastly, you can join organized tours that will allow you to explore Santorini's beauty hassle-free. I'll link to some popular options in the description. Where to stay in Santorini for this itinerary? You have a few different options. First up is Ia, which is famous for its sunset views and beautiful whitewashed buildings. This is a romantic spot for couples, and there are many boutique hotels to choose from. Next up is Fira, the capital of Santorini, which offers lots of restaurants, shopping, and nightlife. If you're looking to party the night away, try staying in Fira. Lastly, Vigli is another great option and is known for its romantic atmosphere. Vigli offers stunning caldera views and is a quieter area to stay in than Ia and Fira. We personally stayed at the Ike's Santorini and highly recommend it. It's a boutique hotel located in Ia with stunning views of the sunset and caldera, all from your own private table at the hotel. You won't have to fight any crowds to see the sunset if you stay here. Now, if anyone has any questions about visiting Santorini or how to spend 3 days in Santorini, please don't hesitate to reach out in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more travel guides like this.